that off. Let's see if this works. All of that. Let's do that. Ew. Oh. Okay. Been one of those days. Okay. Guys are keeping me in check. Let's see. Reference. Nope. Advanced. Nope. Do, 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 do. Maybe that's working. Okay. Pizza. I want pizza. I feel like I could eat pizza every day. Okay. Look at us getting our stuff together. I love it. 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 It's all good. Okay, where were we? Trying to remember. We did that. We did that. We did that. Okay, I think that's where we stopped. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Okay, so I'm pretty sure. Let's do that. Perfect. Pretty sure this is kind of where we stopped. Maybe. Oh, and I think I need to upload, re-upload the one in the course shell. Let me see. I think it's that one right there. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Nope, 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 nope. Undo. That, maybe. Because I think I added, I did. Okay. Hold on, let me edit the PowerPoint slides that are in course shell. Okay, let's do that. Let's delete that. And then I need to add it back because I added more stuff to it because based on next week. So give me half a second. There we go. There we go. Oh, that is not what I meant to do. Y'all, I'm on the struggle bus today. There we go. Okay, cool. Perfect. There we go. No. Okay. Cool. Okay. I don't know what it's doing now. Now I'm giving up. There. Error connecting to the server. Hmm. Very, very interesting. Is it? Nope, because that's certain. Nope, nope. It does not like me today. What's the meeting passcode? I don't know why it insisted I put a passcode on it. All I did was add it to the course thing. I just work here. Like I really have no clue. No clue what's going on. Okay. Let's put that there. Let's put that there. Yeah, good. Okay, thumbs up. And I can't get this to maybe exit Moodle altogether. I think I fight with this course shell more than I do anything. Not gonna lie. Let's see. PowerPoint slides right there. No, I want to edit. Oh, you guys, it's so hard being me. Let's see. I want to delete that. Yes, please. Then I want you to upload that one instead. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Okay. Well, some of the slides are going to be slightly different than what's in the course right now. I will fix that eventually. But right now, it's not that day because it is being not friendly with me. Upload a file, choose. Oh, maybe I have to choose it. Maybe that'll work. Fingers crossed, everybody. Open. Oh, that's why it won't let me do it. Okay, hold on, please. Because I have it open. There we go. The whole like not being able to share is kind of annoying. Okay, let me make sure this is the right one. That is not the right one. Come on, girl. You got this. Does anyone else talk to themselves like me, or is it just me? For real. Okay. Okay. Let's go there. I'm pretty sure this is where we left off. Current. Okay, I think you can still see that. If you can't, let me know. Can y'all see that? You can see that. Okay, and that's where we left off. And I really only I added a few because I want you guys to start looking at the second problem before next week. Because there's some kind of like you need to be able to load it into the memory, and then we're going to concentrate on manipulation of the data. Okay. So I'm going to kind of go through the Python to get it actually into the program, and then starting next week, we will just look at what we've done. Okay. It made sense in my head, I promise. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So we left off last time talking about sorting these dictionary items. Oh, and I say that and people are coming in. That's fine. Sorting these dictionary items. Um, and so the next thing we're going to look at is in Python, the ability to indicate arguments in either a positional or a keyword argument. Okay. So in Python, positional would be basically the order that it's in. And keyword is that you can give your arguments a keyword so that you can indicate it using the keyword and not just the position. Okay, so for keyword, the parameter names are used to pass arguments during that function call. The order of the names can be changed as long as you keep the keyword. It's kind of like when you access the dictionary. It doesn't really matter what order your pairs are in because you're going to access that order based on the keyword, not necessarily the positional number. Okay. We can do the same thing with these arguments. So the syntax is going to be your function name, and then in the parentheses where we traditionally would have the arguments, instead of just a variable, it would be name equals and then value. And positional, that's kind of how we learn to do it first. The arguments are passed in a specific order. The order is defined by that declaration, and you have to always use that same order. So the order of that cannot be changed. And for that, we just do function and then value and value. But I've got some examples. So the first example up here is, you know, let's say that I defined it as a first, second, third, and fourth, and it's just printing out some whatever I'm sending it. Okay, so my what my function is doing is not important. What's going to be important is how I'm calling this Python function. Okay, so the very first one over here is the positional. So I call it using the function name, special function, and I send it 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1 will correspond to first, 2 corresponds to second, 3 corresponds to third, and 4 corresponds to fourth. Okay. That's the most traditional way of doing it. But in Python, you can actually do it these other ways with these keywords. Okay. So for the first one, I can actually say first equals 1, second equals 2, third equals 3, and fourth equals 4. So that would give first the value of 1, second the value of 2, third the value of 3, and fourth the value of 4. Okay, that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying I can use keywords to indicate. It'll still print one, two, three, four, first, second, third, fourth. Okay, just like it did with the positional. Okay, all I did was add those keywords. There's not really ever a reason to do it in this way because you might as well just do the positional, less typing. But what I can do is I can do it in an order so that I may not necessarily put it in the correct order. So if I don't have a keyword, it goes one is first, second is two. Okay. But then here I've got fourth equals three, third equals fourth. So it will actually give fourth up here the value of three. See the output here. And then third, the value of four. So it prints out third is four. So notice I switched the positions of that by using the keyword. Okay. Now, one thing is that I, if I start with positional, I can switch to keyword, but I cannot switch back. Once I use a keyword, I have to use a keyword for everything. Okay. But I could also do something like this, right? So third equals one, second equals two, fourth equals three, first equals four. Okay. So the order in which it is sent no longer matters because I'm using keywords. So for here, my first is going to have the value of four, second is going to be two, third is going to be one, and fourth is going to be three. Okay. So what you're doing is you're calling the function, but then you're able to change the order of your arguments. Okay. Now remember, you cannot switch to positional once you use keywords. Once you use keywords, you have to use keywords. God bless you. So here you've got function and name and then the value. You cannot do it that way. Okay. You have to stick with one. You can also not define it twice. So if I define my function using keywords, so first, second, third equals zero, fourth equals zero, I can't go back and say one, two, and then fourth equals zero. Okay. I need to stay with whatever convention I started out with. So for this, I'm going to require two by value and then third and fourth. So here I only sent it three. That's why I can't do that, right? I basically defined it by skipping the third. Even though I have a default value set, oops, I'm pointing to the wrong screen, sorry. Even though I have a third default value set for third, I basically skip it here and you can't do that. So because it's considered redefining your function. So fun with functions, passing a variable number of arguments to functions. So we can use wildcards. Let me get my little cheat sheet out, my little note sheet out. And we can do that by using star. Star is a wildcard. Okay, so in Python, I can use that wildcard when I have doubts or concerns or questions about what I need, how many arguments I need to send. Okay, so, in the past, you may have put everything in a list and just thrown a list into a function and then loop through the list until you get to the end of the list. Well, now you can actually use like the star args or the double star KW args. It would kind of do the same thing, except instead of it being a list, it's actually going to send you the variables individually. Okay. So I can use the star args to pass non-keyworded arguments, and I can use the double star for keyword arguments. Okay, so we just talked about what the value, the non-keyword was, and what the keyword was. Okay, so we're going to have a few examples of what that looks like coming up here. Okay, args is used a lot. Not necessarily in Python, but I know for like Java, you can use the star args when you're passing it in from the command line into the class in order to run it. Okay. Let's see. So what is Python's star argument? So you're passing a variable number of arguments to a function. So it's an unknown number of arguments. So say I want to add numbers together. Okay. And regardless of whether I send it two numbers or eight numbers, I want it to be able to do it both without having to redefine my add function. I would do that with the star args. Okay. Again, you could also throw it into a list and then just have it go through, but this is a little bit more elegant. That one, I think. But it's going to pass non-keyworded variable length argument list. Okay, that's what args is, arguments. So by convention, we will actually call it star args, and you will know that it is what that is. Okay. So with that, any number of extra arguments can be tacked on to your parameters. So again, if I want to create an add where I add a number of however many numbers I want to send it, I can use that. Okay. The variable args then becomes an iterable variable which means I can iterate on that variable. Okay. Just like I can on a list. So I can find a position. I can pull a value of what's in a specific position in that variable. Okay. Again, very close to what you would do in a list without having to do a lot of the weird listy things. How's that? Was that good? That was terrible. Anyway, using a star, we can pass elements of a list into a function as positional arguments. So here, I'm going to send to that special function, the one that we just looked at where it took in first, second, third, and fourth. I can actually send it nope, don't click when I'm pushing on the thing. You know what? Here. Dun, da, da, dun. I can actually send it star my list. Okay. And it would be the same thing as saying special function, and I send it the list itself. Okay, so here it would do 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of like what we thought. What I can also do, I can put an O list here, so I can send it 3 and 4 and then the list. So it's going to say 3 and 4 first, and then the 1 and 2 after it. Okay. So you're going to look at it and be able to iterate through the options that are there, just like you did in those other data structures. So the double star. So if a single star is a wild card, this is a wild card? Not really sure. But it's going to pass a variable number of arguments to a function. So it does the same thing as the star args, but it's going to pass a keyworded variable length argument. So the big difference here is the keyword that goes with it. So by convention, again, we're going to use the keyword args. That's what the KW stands for, keyword. KW args. And it's when you provide a name to the variable as you pass it to the function. So if you think back, we said first equals 1, second equals 2, third equals 3. That's what we're talking about. Think of it as being a dictionary that is going to map the keyword to the value passed along to it. Okay, it's another way of thinking about it. And again, we're going to be able to, oh, that is not even a word. Iterate. I don't think iterage is a word. Iterate over that. I need to mark that down. I have a typo on that slide. Okay. And remember, when I do this, there's no order. So again, it's going to function like a Python dictionary in that you're going to access using the keywords, not the positional values. So even though we can iterate over it because we don't know how many are in there, it doesn't really matter what order they're in because the keyword is really our indicator. Okay. So for example, using the double star, we can pass the elements of a dictionary as keyword arguments. So here I create a dictionary because I've got my curly brackets, I've got my keywords and the associated numerics. Well, I can use that dictionary then to send to my function. So I've got my special function and I'm going to send it that dictionary because that dictionary is the association of keyword equal value. Turn that off. There we go. Perfect. Okay. The other thing I can do, I can mix the ability to use a single asterisk for wildcard and the double with the keyword. But just like the keywords and values by themselves, it, I can do the single first and then the double, but it's not going to work the other way around. Okay. Remember, once I use a keyword, I have to stay with keywords in Python. Python is not going to be like, oh, you can switch back between variables and keywords. It doesn't like that. Okay. Once you stick with keywords, you have to stay there. Now I can use the wildcard and the keyword wildcard in the definition of my function. So this is what I was talking about before about not knowing how many are going to go in there. So here, I use def to define my Python function. I give it a name, high level function. I'm going to give it, there's one that is required, and then I have a variable amount between there. Okay. I have a third that is required, and I've got a variable length with keywords at the end. Okay. So the first one is a required position because there is no indicator on that. There's no keyword, there's nothing. It just says first. First is then required. The star then gives the option to add more to that list in the positional value way after first. So in essence, I can send first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Well, not third because it's already there, but I can send 12 if I want, as long as I'm using value only. I'm using them as positional only, positional arguments. Third is going to be a required keyword argument, and then the double star is my optional dictionary of keyword arguments that come at the end. Okay. So, for example, let's see, in practice, I can just say, okay, I'm going to print whatever you send me. I can write a very easy and very quick Python function that is defined here. I defined it as fun. I sent it star args, and it's going to do a for loop and go through that variable args as if it were any kind of data structure that's iterable. Okay. So it's just going to take each one, whatever it is, however many I send it, and it's going to print I. So for example, here, if I call that function and I send it the two words hi and world, it's going to go through and just print hi and world. Okay. Here I can say this is the where it has one that is required and then the optional number comes after it. Okay. So for this way to call it, it has to have at least one. And that's what the arg1 is. It's going to print arg1. Here's my first one. And then it's going to go through a loop to iterate through the wildcard optional arguments. So whenever you use that wildcard star with the arguments, you are going to have to loop through it in order to access all your variables. Okay, so again here, I'm just printing them because I don't really care. So if I send it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words here, it's going to print the first one as arg1. And then the second, third, fourth, and fifth are going to be all included into the arg star. Okay. It's going to go ahead and print world having fun yet because I just picked out a bunch of words. Okay, using the keyword arguments with the wildcard. So I define my Python function up here for key, comma, value. Remember, because it's going to look at it as a dictionary entry, but I don't really care what's there. So I'm going to call one key and one value. So what this is going to do is it's going to print out key equals value. Okay, for key and value in the items that have been sent within that variable. Again, when you use the keyword args, the KW args with the double star, you need to iterate through to get every single one off of there. Okay, so here I've got I'm going to send it first equals hello, mid equals world, last equals humans. Remember, I can send as many as I want with this because of how I wrote my function. It's going to make your functions a lot more flexible. So here, it doesn't matter. I could send it 1, I could send it 8, it doesn't matter. Okay. The big thing is that I'm using these keywords. First hello, mid equals world, last equals human. But when I get up here, it's being treated as a dictionary. So my order doesn't matter. Okay, another example for using that. I can require 1, and then if I have any more, loop through it. Okay, it's doing the exact same thing. Bye. Yeah, you can shut the door. That'd be great. Thank you. So here I've got one perfect, one that has to be there, and then these others are optional. Okay, so for key value in the items, here it ignored that one because I didn't do anything with argument 1, but it did iterate through first, mid, and last and printed first, mid, and last. Okay. Now I can combine the two. So here I've got argument 1, 2, and 3. I just print them out. So here, if I say my args equals hello, world, and humans, my fun, if I send it star args, okay, so I'm sending it everything in there. So it goes through and sends 1, 2, and 3. The same thing with the keyword KW args. Arg1, hello, Arg2, world, Arg3, humans. Notice this is in like that dictionary form. I send it to my fun and I print out all 3. I don't usually use it in that way as I use it more in the function way. So just so that you kind of understand, this is useful, but I think this is definitely way more useful. Because again, sometimes I don't know how many items I want to operate on within my function. So that's when this becomes like super useful. So here I've got my arguments and I just have it printing the arguments and then it prints the keyword arguments. So if I send it hello world humans, which have no keywords, and then I send it first, mid, and last, which has keywords, it will automatically know that you want the separation between that these are going to be the args, right? And these are going to be the keyword args, just based on the fact that it has a keyword in there. Appearance in the documentation. So how does this stuff look in documentation? Well, okay. So if I pull up, say, for example, pandas data frame plot bar, the first one, the pandas is the module name, the data frame is the class, and plot is the data member instance of, and bar is the function I want to look at. Okay, so that's kind of what all of that stuff is associated with. Now, when I look down here, I notice a few things. So the first of all, it operates on an instance of itself. Okay. The other thing I notice is that it actually has the double star keyword args. Okay. And because I think quargs is like really weird, and I don't think that's like really what it's supposed to be, but y'all get it. So this would be any additional keywords from dataframe.plot. So let's see if I can pull this up. Oh, because I have it on the thingy. Okay, hold on. So when I go to like dataframe.plot, okay, you should be, so there are all these different parameters that I can set in this plot. So I can set a title, a grid, a legend, a style. But the easiest way for me to indicate which ones of those I care about and I want to change on purpose and those that I don't is to send it keywords associated with the values I want to set them at and it will only change those values. So in plot bar, I could possibly send it title equals something. I can also send it um, axis equals whatever, any of those variables that I had in there. Grid equals, let's see, it's a Boolean. Grid equals true. Okay. But because there are so many different parameters that I could possibly use in this, the easiest and quickest, yeah, those are different, and cleanest way would be to send it the KW args. Okay. I don't want to create a constructor for data and X, data and X and Y, and then have some of them not be used, right? So I send it args and star args. And then that way I can pick and choose which one of those parameters by using the keywords I want to change. Okay. So it's actually kind of a cool tool, but like I said, I use it a little bit more on the side, like from this angle than the other way where I use the star args to send to a function. Okay. I just think it's a little bit more useful on this end. Odds and ends, a few little odds and ends, and we'll wrap up kind of at least today's lecture. Today's been a rough day, man. I don't know why my brain is like not functioning well. Anyway, common sense in data science is to count all the occurrence of a particular something. Okay, so let's say a particular word. So assume you have a list and we'll call it document. And how would we write code to create a dictionary of word counts? Well, okay, let's start with our dictionary, right? Counts equals blank dictionary. And then we could do a for loop to walk through that document. And each time it accesses a word, if the word is already there, add one to it. Okay, add one to the counter. If it's not there, create one and set it equal to one. Okay. So that's the way that we've done this previously. Okay. In previous Python courses. Okay. This works. But there is something out there called, oh, that was Jersey, called collections. And collections will allow us to work with dictionaries and things like that in a little bit more elegant way. Eloquent, elegant. I don't know. Those words are like the same in my brain. So I can actually import collections and I can say my counts is equal to collections dot default dictionary init. I'm sorry, default dictionary int. I'm sending it an int. I want my dictionary values to be integers. Okay. Then all I have to do is for Word and document, add one to what's already there. Okay. So it does a few little things. It's going to basically, it gets rid of the else. You don't have to look to see if it's already there because the default dictionary will make sure that if it's not there, it adds it. Okay, so you don't have to look for that. It's kind of built into it. You can also import collections and do something that says counts equals collections dot counter and then just send it the document. All three of these do the same thing. Okay. But collections, look how easy it did to get the counter on the words. Okay. I would so much rather type 2 lines. That's just me. List comprehension. So creating a list from an existing list. So most of the times, if we're doing this, we want to apply a transformation. We want to select a subset. Like it has something to do with manipulating the original, but we want to keep the original, intact. So if I want to do something for squares, so for example, I set I create my list for I in range to 10, and I'm going to append to that list I squared. So it's going to output 0 through 9 squared. Okay. However, it's not very like Python-like. Okay. So we have something called list comprehension. And for Python, this is the definition from the Python website. A compact way to process all or part of the elements in a sequence and return a list with the results. It's basically going to be a shorthand way of doing what we did before. Okay. My syntax is going to be the expression parenthesis, element for element in old list if a condition is true, square bracket. Okay. So watch. There's my original. Okay. If I use this list comprehension, and for the first couple times you're going to be, using this, it may do you some good to write it out in the longer way until you can kind of see the correlation. Because even now, sometimes I still have to write it out in this way so that my brain can be like, oh, that's what you're talking about. But to write it in list comprehension, okay, I can write it I squared for I in range 10. This one line is going to do the same thing as these 3 lines. It will give you the exact same input. Okay. So Python, IT, we like shortcuts. There's my shortcut. Okay. So I take what I want in the list subset and I put it first. And then I say for I in range to 10. Okay. So you're basically squishing it all on one line. Now I can work backwards. So here is my list comprehension. And like I said, this is where you might want to, if you look at that and you're like, I'm not really sure what's going on, we're going to break it down. So what is the output in this? Well, let's create a list, okay? For X in 1, 2, 3. Okay, so for X in 1, 2, 3. And then in that for Y in 3, 1, 4. So for Y in 3, 1, 4, if X is not equal to Y, right? If X is not equal to Y, then I want to create XY and add it to my list. So what I'm doing is I'm creating ordered pairs between 1, 2, 3 and 3, 1, 4, as long as X and Y are not equal. Okay. So what's missing? 1, 1, 3, 3. Those are really the ones that are missing. Okay. So my output for both of these, because they're both correct, we're in IT, we live in the gray, is going to be 1, 3, 1, 1 is not done because they're equal. 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 4. And then 3, 3 is not done because they're equal. 3, 1, and 3, 4. Okay. I like to look at it as I take this as my result, and I kind of, if you put it over here, that's kind of what we're doing. Okay, so that's how it helps me look at these inlines a lot faster. Okay, so for X in 1, 2, 3, and then another loop for Y in 3, 1, 4, if X does not equal to Y, do something. Now, one of the things that with these list comprehensions, it can only work if you have these single statements. Okay. If I were to have multiple statements in any of these, it does not work. Okay. Oh, Lord have mercy. You're in green and gray. I'm so sorry. I have someone whose laptop is about to die. And we're just getting to the good stuff. I'm just kidding. There really is no good stuff. This is boring. It's fine. It's data science. And we're IT people. So, like, I'm trying to make the best out of it as I possibly can. I promise you. So, if you ever, I am going to be doing a lot of this list comprehension because I want you to get used to seeing it. If at any point you get confused as to what is happening, I encourage you to look back at this slide and kind of break it down into the more traditional way that you're used to seeing. Okay. That way, that'll help you in these next couple projects coming up. Okay. Any questions on the content that we've covered so far? Okay. So, what I want to do now is I'm going to get us started on project two. Okay. Project one was just kind of implementing some of these things. It was like dusting off some of or I'm sorry, project one. Is that what I said? I don't even remember now. I was brushing off some of the dust on the Python. It wasn't a big deal. Okay. Project two is going to be basically doing commands for statistics. So, looking a little bit ahead to next week, we are going to be starting descriptive statistics next week. Okay. And project two is primarily dealing with descriptive statistics. But there is a data file to use, okay? And it's adults.data, and all of that is in the Jupyter thing. Hub, Jupyter Hub. Yeah, Jupyter thing. That was a word, I promise. Okay. During class on Monday and Wednesday, I will be walking through some of the questions in project two. And yes, it should be accessible to everybody. Okay, I did put a link in Moodle for you guys to access. It's the Jupyter Hub. You should be able to log in. I know I saw some people that did actually submit their project one already. Um, there was a there. Let me see if I can find my. I am so unorganized today. And I think that's part of my problem. You know, when you're just unorganized, it's like your whole world is like inside out. No, is it just me? It's fine. So when you go into the Jupyter lab, okay, I know I have some stuff open. Sorry. I'm gonna close all this so you don't see anything. And you go into the MB Greeter and you go to the assignment list. That's where you should be able to fetch your assignments. Okay. It is in the CS403F24, which I guess is CS403, which is the class Fall 24. And you should be able to access it with your Unix, Linux login stuff. If you're having trouble, let me know in Discord. I will try to troubleshoot with you, or I will ask questions of the students that were able to do it. Okay. And then let's see, let me log back in because I'm dumb and I just hit the log out button. No thanks. Okay. So here, when you go to that assignments, you should be able to, like, you click right here, project two, descriptive statistics, and that would give you the instructions on what you're going to do. But in class next week, we're going to kind of walk through some of the questions that are getting into the statistics. So before class, it would be in your best interest. Is that good? To import the data and get the import working prior to class because I'm not really stressed about the import. I'm more wanting to touch on the statistical part of it. Okay. So when I get to class and I kind of start looking at project two at the end of class, I'm going to assume that the data was already imported. Okay. That being said, and this is the part that I had to upload into Moodle with the new PowerPoints. So if you downloaded the PowerPoints before this class started today, you might want to download them again so you have these ones at the end here. Okay. So for the project, we're going to ask some questions about the financial state of some people in the United States whose data is in that data file that is in the notebook. Okay. So first they need to, we need to read this adults.data file. Okay. It is a comma delimited file. It's got integers and strings. There are all of my columns in the order, and this is what's telling, and this is all in the notebook as well. This is telling me we've got some integers, we've got some strings. So we have a mixed bag of the data that we want to import. Okay. That being said, we're going to read in each line as a string. We want to parse that string on the comma. And then we're going to convert on some of these from a string to an int, right? So age is going to be an int. I have no idea what that even stands for. Educational number is going to be an int. Capital gain, capital lost, hours worked. No, that's about it. I think those are all the integers. Okay. So on some of them, we're going to convert from a string to an int. Okay. The easiest way to do this, create a data dictionary using these, where's my thingy? These keywords as the keys. Okay. So income underscore greater underscore 50K. That's going to be the key. And then the string will be associated to it for that record. Okay. So for example, this is what the gobbledygook looks like if you try to open it. Okay. 39 state gov 77516, bachelor's 13, never married, admin clerk, not in family, white male 2174, whatever. Okay. So how we're going to do this so that we're all set up in the same way is that first we're going to open that file for read only. Okay. So hopefully this is just brushing off some dust. Okay. I went ahead and defined a function to convert it into an integer. Okay, so if A is digit, return the integer casting of whatever it is I sent. Otherwise, just return 0. Okay, I just did a little function to do it. That way I don't have to do it any other time. It'll do it itself. Okay, I'm going to create a list called data. For line in file, data equals line strip, right? And then split on the commas. Okay. So now data is going to be a list of each of the elements from line stripped and split. That'd be an interesting book title. Anyway, it's all good. If my length is equal to 15, because that's how many columns I have. Okay. Data.append, it's going to create a data dictionary. You can see my curly brackets here. And it's going to use, the first one is age, the second one is employer, the third one is final something. 1, 2, I don't know what that is. FNLWGT. That one is an integer. So I need to send age to my function. I need to send that one to my function. And what else did I have? Hours worked per week. And there was something about the capital gain and capital loss. I think those were the ones that were the ints from the previous slide. All of the ones that are integers, I'm going to send it to the function before I put it in my data dictionary. So my data dictionary will have the keyword and then an actual numeric rather than a keyword and the string version of the numeric. Okay, we'll just go ahead and make the numeric and make it now. Okay. That's going to read in everybody and put it all in this data list. So then I can go ahead and close my file. Okay. That's all you need to do to get the file data basically imported into your Python list. Questions, comments, concerns,
Will you make sure to post this video too, just so we can go back to make sure we can get it working correctly?
only for you, Miss Amber.
Thanks.
Everyone else just has to like muddle through. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you guys are having any trouble with it, let me know. But this right here, like that's why I wanted to make sure these PowerPoints were in there as well, because this slide is in there. All you need for that first little part before question one is like from there down. Okay. And then that'll get you going. That's like pre-question one. Any other questions on problem number 2, getting started for next week? No? Okay. Okay, okay. And if I ever go into something Python related that you didn't have in class or that you forgot, please let me know because I'm not really sure how much Python you guys know before you take this class. Sorry. Okay, so next week we're going to go into the next 2 weeks, we're going to go into statistics, which ugh, anyway, it's fine. We'll get each other through it. So next week is descriptive statistics. That is most of what you're used to. Probability versus statistics, population sample, mean, variance, standard deviation, mean, median, mode, all that kind of good stuff. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Python side of that. So now I've got this huge data set imported into a list. How can I find the mean, median, and mode? How can I split things up between male and female? How can I do quick counts? Things like that. Okay. So that's why I want to concentrate more on that than the actual like import part of it. And then the week after that, we are going to start going into the inferential, which I can't say, so it's fine. Inferential statistics. So probability densities and binomial and distributions and things like that. Again, but that's okay. Any questions, comments, concerns? No? Did I put you all to sleep? I hope not. Okay, my friends. If you need me, you know where to find me. You can always find me on Discord. I will see you all next time.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll stay
Thank
here
you.
as long as you guys need me.
Um,
Yeah.
what's up? So I just had a question about accessing Jupyter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so how exactly do I get um like the Loyola